Hey guys, Allie with iMore, and this is the iPad Air keyboard case shootout. Okay, so first up we have the Zagg Keys Folio by Zagg. This keyboard case retails for $99. It comes in black and white. This is Zagg's full protection offering, so this covers the front and the back. It's made of I think like a faux leather material. I don't know if you can pick that up or not. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. Yeah, you can see that. And then two-toned hard plastic on the outside. This case feels very substantial. It feels nice in your hand, and it looks like a little netbook, so that's kind of cool. You've got cutouts for your camera, access to all your ports. Overall, this is one of my favorite cases, mainly because just the layout of the keyboard is so nice, and it's just very nicely done. So opening this up, we can go over a little bit of the keyboard layout. So up here you can see that on the Zagg keyboards, and this is going to be the case with the next one we'll go over, you've got this dedicated row of function keys. You don't have a function key down here, which is nice, so then you can, lock the iPad, use Siri, undo, redo, cut, copy, paste, skip tracks, things like that with no function key. Zagg made use of this space by giving you a battery meter, which none of the other offerings we have, except for the other Zagg keyboard, have this. So you tap this, and green means you have over 50%, yellow means you have 25 to 49, and red means you got, I think, less than 25%. So overall, very nice keyboard. Buttons for international. This is a very cool feature too. If you type in dark spaces, you've got a little illumination button here. You can also hold down that and the left arrow key and toggle between lots of different colors for this. So another cool feature. It's the only one besides, like I said, the other Zagg offering that offers a backlit keyboard. Your iPad is easily removable, so we'll see if I can get how this works on tape. Basically, you just pop this hinge off at the top and your iPad slides right out. So it's not hard to get the iPad out of this case at all. It's also not hard to get it right back in. So I have not sustained any scratches on my iPad due to this case at all. I really like it a lot. It provides full body protection, so if that's something you want, this is definitely a case worth looking at. Alright, next up we have the Logitech Ultra Thin Keyboard Folio. This case retails for $99 as well. It comes in gray, I think a bunch of different two-toned options, red, navy, and like I said, two-toned. I did not put the iPad in here yet, so I'll show you how that's done. So basically, there's a little hinge right here, and you just slide the iPad right in here. I have not found that this scratches the trim on the iPad at all. So, and then that's pretty much it. And there is a sleeper magnet in this case, just like there is in the Zagg Folio. Coming around the edge, you have access to all of your ports. So, and then you've got your buttons around here for Bluetooth pairing, etc. Coming around here, not too much to see. In the top, again, access to ports. So folding this over, Logitech makes some very nice keyboards. This is not one of my absolute favorites, but it's okay. So starting up here, one thing I'll note is the tab and the caps lock key share space with the Q and A. It's not a terrible annoyance, but if those are keys you use a lot, it takes a little bit of getting used to. Once you get used to that, you're okay. When I first started using this keyboard, I kept hitting an S instead of an A, vice versa, so it takes a little bit. It only took me about 10 or 15 minutes, so it's not something I would say would deter me from buying this keyboard case. It's just something to think about. You've got a function key down here, so you've got up here your lock, your Siri, your international keyboard. So this one does not have the shortcut like a lot of the other ones do right down by the space bar. So not as convenient, but it's still there as an option. Your play, pause, skip track buttons, your volume buttons, the typical offenders you'd expect to see, and then your cut, copy, paste are down here on X, C, and B. So overall, this is a nice case. Folding up this way, this is how this works. It basically just clicks right in here. There's a little strip above the keyboard that's magnetic. So overall, not too bad. Closing this up, you've got cutouts for your camera down here. This material is really nice. It's rubber, so I think it would absorb shock okay. The only concern that I have with this is it's a dust magnet. So anytime you set this down, since it is grippy, expect to have dust and lint. I set it down at a table at Starbucks, and when I picked it back up, you know, there were crumbs and things on the back. So something to think about. It does wipe off easy, but if that's something that bothers you, you know, it's just something that you might want to keep in mind. Okay, so on to our third and final folio case. This is the Belkin Slim Style keyboard case for iPad Air. This case retails for $79. It does come in a multitude of colors. I'll start this off by saying it's my least favorite offering. Sometimes you do get what you pay for, and I think this case is a classic example of that. So for starters, your iPad, and I'll turn this sideways and hope you can see this. Basically, the way this goes in here is there's fabric, so showing you this, I think this is going to stretch over time. I think the iPad's going to start sagging. That's my theory. So basically, you do know that you're not going to sustain any damage or any scratches by putting this in here since it is fabric. So I guess that's one plus. The way this stands up, this is my first peeve. This flap back here, it's very cheap. I don't like the feel of this. I think over time it's going to tear or it's going to lose its shape. So this is the way this works. You bring it up around here, and that's about how this keyboard case works. So coming around, you do have full access to all the ports, but this case is a little bit bulky. It's kind of heavy, which I guess that can mean that it does add some protection. So if your iPad were to take a fall in this case, it might survive better than some of the other options. But again, that comes with a compromise. So opening this up, my biggest irritation with this case, more than anything, is the keyboard. And anyone that saw my regular review of this already knows this, but for some reason, someone at Belkin thought it was a good idea to move your semicolon and your colon key from here to here. Terrible idea. I have no idea why they would do this, but yeah, it messes up. I mean, keyboards are made a certain way due to the fact that we have muscle memory because we use them all the time. When you do this and you change things like this, it causes problems for the user. So for me, every time I went to type an apostrophe or a quote, I would accidentally hit enter, or it was not a good situation. So yeah, that's very annoying if you're typing an email and you go to type an apostrophe and you break down to the next line. So again, that's my biggest peeve with this keyboard. I can't really find a reason to recommend this over the Logitech Folio unless you're really strapped for cash and need to save that additional $20. This is probably not one of the cases that I would recommend. I'm probably going to put this one in 5 out of 5 on a scale of all 5 cases that we're looking at today. So next up is our fourth offering, and this is our first keyboard cover that we're taking a look at. This is the Logitech Ultra Thin keyboard cover. This retails for $99 and comes in black and white. This is more of a cover, so as a cover, you do not get back protection as opposed to the folios we just looked at. But if you want thin, this is one of the thinnest, if not the thinnest, keyboard cover you're going to find, at least with a decent layout. So opening this up, again, sleeper magnet, and I will point out, I think the only offering that we're looking at today out of all 5 that does not have a sleeper magnet in it was the Belkin Slim Style case. So all other 4 cases, the 2 Zaggs and the 2 Logitechs, they all have sleeper magnets in them. So when you close the cover or the folio, your screen turns off and it'll turn back on. So coming around here, you can really see how thin this keyboard case is. It's very thin. So if you've used a smart cover before on your iPad, you'll know exactly how this works. You just pull it right off. And then it attaches right like that. So coming around here and closing this, this hinge is pretty thick, but it's not bad. So coming around, obviously access to all ports on all sides, so that's good. Removing this, the way your iPad sits in here is you just set this keyboard case down right like this, and your iPad sits in this little hinge. So no multi-viewing angles, anything like that, but for the most part, it's a very nice case. I have no qualms about Logitech's keyboard layout, so we'll set my iPad aside and take a look at that. So coming up around here, just like the other Logitech case, you do have a function key, and then you've got a function row up here that shares with the number keys, but you do not have the shared Q&A key with the tab and caps lock. So that's nice. I've always really liked the ultra thin keyboards. When I had an iPad 3, this is what I used all the time. This is the only keyboard case I owned. It retained its thickness, or its thinness. One thing that I do want to point out here is this variant has little rubber feet on the front, and since this front of this case is aluminum, it can scratch, so that's kind of nice. Around here on the hinge you've got a little bit of beveled edge, and then I would assume that it's probably the same height as these feet. So then when you set it down, it serves two purposes. It prevents this keyboard cover from getting scratched, and it also helps so it doesn't slide around as much. So again, this is the Logitech ultra thin keyboard cover. It's probably the slimmest offering we're looking at today. If you want slim, you want this cover. Alright, so now we're on to our last offering, and it is another keyboard cover. This is the Zagg Keys cover by Zagg. This retails for $99 as well, comes in black and white. I don't know if I said it with the ultra thin by Logitech. That cover also comes in only black and white. But same here. You've got your illuminated keys just like you've got on all the others. So we'll turn this on. And same thing here. Illuminated keys, 3 different brightness levels. And you can also toggle between different colors. Your battery meter down here. Dedicated row function keys up here. Exactly what you'd expect coming from what we just looked at with the Zagg Keys Folio. So moving on with this. This one, just like the Logitech offering, is stainless steel brushed aluminum on this side. The Zagg option comes with these little rubber feet. It's at your discretion whether or not you want to use them and stick them on there. So they come in the packaging. I used them because this is a really nice brushed aluminum, so I don't want it to get scratched up. The hinge here is very heavy duty, and I'll show you. Zagg recommends that you put this in with the case just a little bit open. I've actually found it easier to put this in here with it all the way open and set down on the table. So we'll see how well this works. Basically the way you're going to do this, and let's make sure I'm putting this in here correctly. When you hold this, and Zagg gives you instructions on this, you want the home button to be at the top. So I guess it actually goes like this. So the way you do this is you just kind of apply firm pressure and then match it up. So I found it harder the way that Zagg told us to do this, and easier to do it with it open. So basically this is how it goes in here. Looking at it from the side, looks like a little laptop. So the nice thing about this case over the Logitech cover is it gives you multiple viewing angles. So you can actually, look at it straight up. You can tilt it back pretty far. So that's about as far as it goes. Most of us probably won't use it that far, but again, closing this, it does have a sleeper magnet in it, and this is what it looks like when it's closed. So there's your hinge, access to all your ports, and a little tab so you can open it easier. Oh, there it is. So overall, really nice case, easy to get the iPad in and out. When you pull it out, I do it with the keyboard open again, but that's totally up to you. You just have to make sure that when you pull up on it, I pull up evenly in the middle or from a side, and I make sure you hold the keyboard down so that doesn't go flying. So overall, I love Zagg's keyboard layout. So when it comes to a cover, what you choose really depends on what's more important to you. This one, they offer the same amount of protection as far as covers are concerned, pretty much none. But Logitech, if you want the thinnest, that's what you want. Zagg, multiple viewing angles, backlit keyboard. If those things are more important to you, this is what you're going to want to go for. They're the exact same price, so it really comes down to personal preference. If you haven't already, I've done reviews individually on all 5 of these cases, so you can check those out. There's a link in the article, as well as videos that go more in depth on each keyboard. And let us know which keyboard case you decided to go with, and click through the individual reviews for tons of pictures of each case. Thanks for watching, and we'll have more coming your way soon.